Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we're checking out TRM's new version of the Neutron. Now, I love TRM. I think they do incredible work, USA made. They make nice, lightweight, thin geometry knives that are also great users. So they complement, you know, a good knife for just the everyday carrier or a worker. Now, I want to show you guys first how this thing looks after I've carried it for a few days and the wear that it's taken, because this is somewhat of like a polished knife to some extent. But then right after that, I'll show you guys how it looked fresh out of the box. I want to give the homie Marine X a shout out. I recently went to Texas and went and did a video with him. We did a live together. And while there, I got to check out his frame lock version of the Neutron, and I really, really liked it. Like, it's possibly my favorite version. It just, man, it was really awesome. But he also got one of these. So he does have a video on it. I think he posted it the day before mine. So go and check that video out as well and get his perspective on it. Because, you know, it's better to get two than one. And yeah, see what he says about it, because, you know, he's got that frame lock version and this one. So, you know, one might be a better suit for you than the other. And I've been using it all day today, and I used it quite a bit actually, and I've been carrying it for a couple days. You can see we have some wear already down at the bottom. Now, I'll be honest, I actually like that. I love, and I know some people, this is going to be completely subjective, what you think looks good. If you like it to be pristine, and like I said, I'm going to show you what that looks like here in 1 second. That's cool. You can like it like that. Me personally, I love the look of the character from the use, you know, of like the way my pocket puts, you know, like a little bit of edge, you know, a little bit on that edge right there. Just how my use and my pockets are going to break this thing in, which I do really like. Also, the action is so smooth. Like, after a couple days of flicking it, you know, and obviously using it and stuff, it has gotten, it was super smooth out of the box. Now this thing, it wound up getting this sound that's like kind of addicting. I don't know if you guys can, it's such a thwack. Another thing I really appreciate is the lock face geometry. I can see all the contact on the lock face, showing that it's going from front to the back of the lock face, making really, really good contact. It's not hitting in just one little tiny area where you wind up getting lock rock and things like that. Really good contact, even with a very slow roll. So great lock geometry on these. And it is drop shutty, luxuriously smooth. Now, we'll talk about the edge here in 1 second. The titanium, though, I love it. I think it looks really good. I love how lightweight it is. I love the pinch grips in it. You know, doing utility cuts, which is the majority of the cutting I did today. But I do have a little bit of micro chipping right here, you know, and then a little bit at the tip. But I did quite a bit with it. Now, it's probably going to cut paper just fine. I want to start that heel. Yeah, you see a couple little tiny spots. But for the most part, you know, it's just fine. So this would take me 30 seconds to hone back or to strop. When you do honing, you want to lay the spine down, and you see that shadow? Just underneath the edge, there's that little shadow. Just lift up the edge until that shadow's gone right there. That's my angle. Again, see how there's a shadow underneath? Lift, 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 right there, bam. That's the exact angle that's on the knife. Now, when you see me honing and you see that little stop right there where like it hits something and it's like I'm stopping, that's part of the damage. That's what I'm trying to get out. So what I'll do is I might work on the area just a couple passes like that, you know, and just basically I'm just trying to plow through it without, you know, like really just, you know, like putting any damage on it or anything. I'm just kind of trying to get it to fold over to the other side. And then in many cases, you're going to feel it on the opposite side. Once it gets smooth over here, you'll feel it on this side. So you'll want to do the same thing, get it back to smooth, and then just back and forth, back and forth. And you're basically either wearing it down or straightening it out, one of the two. But the blade, beautiful stone wash. It is something that's going to hide scratches, maybe not tape goo, but, you know, scratches and stuff. You know, clean the tape goo off. But, you know, this is, in my opinion, a good looking, attractive knife. Now, it's not going to be for everybody unless if you are somebody, either one that wants the elegance of it to be fresh, or if you're the type of person like me who wants it to take on the character of you carrying it. And I think that this is a great knife to do that. And I think, you know, over time, like all these little scuffs and stuff are just, to me, it's going to look cool. Now you could, because this is a blank canvas, you could just anodize it or get some, you know, some custom work done to it. It's not quite a polish. It's like a super fine satin. They might call it a polish. I'm not sure. It's damn near a polish, but, you know, it just, you know, the whole thing matches really well. Now let's take a close look really quick of it, you know, before I, you know, started carrying it and everything. So I'm going to show you guys this one with the white gloves on just for a moment, just so I don't get any fingerprints on it, so you can kind of see this satin finish, almost a mirror finish. I didn't finish wiping it down before I started the video, of course. You can see this very fine satin finish, a little bit more of a, I don't know about deeper, but maybe a little bit less polished around the edges, which does have a very clean look to it that I do enjoy, but it's fingerprinty. So I'm going to take off the gloves now that you guys have kind of taken a little peek around it. But yes, it is fingerprinty. So I wouldn't consider this like a work knife or anything, but, you know, maybe somebody could get it for an elegant knife, or, you know, just a nice little light duty knife. If you don't worry about, you know, smudging, getting fingerprints on it, then you might not care. And it's really not that bad because it's just titanium. So it's raw titanium. So, you know, it's just going to be, you know, what it is. Not that big of a deal. But I would say that it'd be kind of cool to see maybe some of these with a deep satin, so that, you know, you don't see the spots, or maybe a stone washed. I do like this fine satin finish though. There is something very elegant about it and something very nice, feels good in the hand. Not necessarily slippery. It's not slippery, but, you know, it feels really good in the hand. So to close all this up, you know, I think they do a really good job with their steel. Their heat treat's really well done. I've tested quite a few of their knives. You know, I do have this guy right here. It's got a beautiful edge on it. I've, you know, been using TRM's knives for a while now. They always sharpen up extremely well. This is the Bulldog, and you can see they are very close in size. And then we have the little holy nerd here, a little tiny guy, much smaller than you would think. Everybody said that in their videos, and then when I got it, I was like, yeah, they're actually right. You'd think it's going to be bigger than what it is. And then I do have technically a fixed blade as well. But all in all, I love TRM's knives. I love that they go with super slicey. That's something very important to me, especially from an EDC knife perspective, because it's not so thin that it's fragile, but it's also really slicey. So the geometry, as far as going from the spine to the edge, is not like it's not like it gets super thin behind the edge. It's like 20 thousandths behind the edge, but it's such a thin blade that it passes through materials really well. I actually think that this is potentially like the best geometry for most people. You know, 90 to 100 thousandths blade stock thickness, 20 thousandths behind the edge. It's going to have a tough enough edge, you know, considering, you know, you don't drop the angle back, you know, super low when you sharpen it. It's gonna have plenty of toughness while also being extremely slicey. The blade shapes on these and just the overall shape and design work extremely well for utility cuts and, you know, cutting in any direction. And I like that. Handle super thin, super lightweight in my opinion. Good access to the lock bar. My biggest complaint, you know, overall, I have one complaint, and you know, you could, I'm sure other people can come up with a lot of other little things, but me, the one thing that I'm annoyed about is this clip. One, it is way too big here and then way too shallow in the ramp. So this one works really well. You see how the ramp's higher? And this is still a big gap. I think this is the perfect clip, actually. I should have said this one. This one's a perfect clip. Plenty of bill. It's got a, you know, it's got plenty of room underneath. Look at this one. Like, this is just like no bill and then way too much room underneath. So with it being this slim, they just didn't need this big of a clip. I might try to switch that out somehow, maybe even with one of, I don't know. I guess that probably won't work. I'll try to switch it out somehow. I also wish it had flat screws. And then it'd be cool if it was reversible, you know, for lefties. And then, you know, you could put a replacement plate kind of like this guy. But other than that, that's really my only complaint. And the thing is if you have thick jeans, even if you don't, even just regular pockets, like that it is a little, I mean, it does slide in regular pockets a lot easier than it does thicker jeans. But anyways, yeah, not a lot of negative here. Definitely not a deal breaker. And I could obviously switch the clip out, or I could give it a little tiny bend right there and then it'll be just fine. That's probably what I'm going to do if I can't find something pretty quickly. But all in all, TRM, man, USA made. They do a good job with their heat treatments, good job with geometry, their tolerances, fit and finish. I've always liked everything about, you know, what they stand for and what they are. To me, they are users, right? And you know, I know this is trying to be a little bit more elegant, but TRM, I've used the hell out of their knives. I know a lot of other people that have used the hell out of them. They're users, man, and that's what I love about them. You know, they're not trying to be something that you should protect. They're trying to be something that, you know, you take out of your pocket and you use. So anyways, while also, you know, carrying, you know, premium materials. Work hard, stay tough. Till next time, peace.